Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Plant Growth and Development, and in this video we will cover part 2. Now let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2014. Dr. F. Wendt noted that if cleopatile, tips were removed and placed on agar for 1 hour, the agar would produce a bending when placed on one side of freshly cut it's called as coleoptile stumps of what significance? So what does this show? What does this experiment have in significant? So you're given 4 options here. Before that, you have to understand the concept of what Dr. Wendt said. Okay, there are various bioassays to determine the concentration of the auxin hormone. So auxin, if you know, it is a growth factor, right? The vena, so the one that we use for this experiment, the correct name is vena coleoptile, and this vena coleoptile experiment or a test is a bioassay firstly done by who? Dr. F. W. Wendt. Okay, so what do you use here? You use indole acetic acid, right? Indole 3 acetic acid. It measures the angle of the curvature of the coleoptile after placing an agar block containing auxin on one side. It is seen that when coleoptile tips are placed on the agar produced will bend. There is bending when placed on one side of a freshly cut coleoptile stumps. This is due to the polar movement of the auxin in the stump. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. It is on the basis for the quantitative determination of small amounts of growth promoting substances. Okay, next question here. A few normal seedlings of tomato were kept in the dark room. After a few days, they were found to have become white colored like albinos. Which of the following terms will be used to describe them? So you're given 4 options here. We'll go one by one. So obviously it is not mutated. You know what is mutation, right? It's a sudden change. So it has nothing to do with mutation. So what do you mean by embolished? You're given 4 options here. I told you what is mutation. It's a sudden change that occurs in any living organism. But apart from that, you also have factors which contribute to this mutation. Okay, the factors which include are you have UV rays, infrared rays, which actually trigger mutation in living organism. Now coming on to the next factor, embolized. It involves a selective occlusion of blood vessels by purposely introducing emboli. In other words, it is deliberately, in terms of biology, you call it as blocking of blood vessels. But what do you mean by embolized in plants? Right, in plant. So I told you in terms of biology, you simply call it as it's a blocking of blood vessels. So here the blocking of xylem vessel, okay, the flow of water. The blocking of the xylem vessel or the trachea by an air bubble or a cavity is called as embolism. So once again, the correct answer is not embolism. What do you mean by tolerated? Etoliated. What do you mean by etoliated? But the correct answer is etoliated. Okay. So, etoliation is the depigmentation of leaf when plant is placed in dark room or in dark for more than 36 hours. So here, if you see, the question clearly tells us there is the leaf that was an initial color has become white colored like albinos. So that is nothing but depigmentation, right? You call that as depigmentation. Therefore, the defoliated is not. It's just the opposite of etoliated. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C, etoliated. Okay. Next question here. Which one of the following growth regulators is known as stress hormone? Very easy question for you to answer. Out of the 4 options, the correct answer is abscisic acid, which is always abbreviated as ABA. Okay. Abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is also known as a stress hormone, which works in adverse environmental condition when there is. So for a plant, what would be an unfavorable condition? What can be when there is low amount of water, when there's no minerals in the soil, when the soil is contaminated, so these conditions become a stress for a plant. Now when we talk about human beings, what is our stress? we don't have enough food to survive, we don't have enough money to spend, we don't have a proper house to live. Likewise, for a plant, if you see, the stress arises from the environment when there is no proper water supply, when there is no proper minerals in the soil, when there is no proper absorption system, something malfunctions in the plant. So at that time, this particular stress hormone called as abscisic acid is used. Okay, when there is low water content in the atmosphere, or sometimes even in the drought conditions, this acid causes a stomatal closure of the leaves, due to which the water loss can be prevented. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Easy question, right? Next question here. During seed germination, its stored food is mobilized with the help of dash. Again, this is a very easy question for you. You're given 4 options here. We saw abscisic acid is a stress hormone, so this is not the answer. What do you mean by cytokinin? Have you ever heard about the word cytokinin? There is a different meaning when it comes to this, especially when it comes for plants. It is always abbreviated as CK. Okay, it's a class of plant growth substances which are also called as phytohormones that promote the cell divisions or cytokinesis in plant roots and shoots. They are involved primarily in cell growth and differentiation, but also affect the apical dominance, axillary bud growth, and also sometimes the leaf growth. So cytokinin is not the answer. What do you mean by gibberellin? Gibberellin. So gibberellin are also called, here again it is abbreviated as GA, which means gibberellins. They are plant hormones that regulate the various developmental processes, including, what are they included in? Stem elongation. Okay, stem elongation. Then you have germination. What else? Flowering, dormancy, flower development, fruit development, etc. This is one of the longest known classes of the plant hormone so far researched and found. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C, gibberellin. Apart from that, to your right side, you have some extra information that you can go through. They stimulate the synthesis of alpha amylase and protease enzyme in germinating grains of cereals. They are involved in the conversion of the starch into sugar. So these are the other functions of this particular hormone called as gibberellin. Okay, the active beta amylase and alpha amylase together digest the starch to glucose, which is mobilized to meet the metabolic demands of the embryo. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Next question here. The pineapple, which under natural conditions is difficult to blossom, is made to produce fruits throughout the year with the application of dash. So now you must have the scenario is like this, where you even find, see, certain fruits are occasional, that is, you call them as seasonal fruits. Only at that period of time you find those fruits available. But now if you see, this condition is not prevailing now. You have certain fruits which are seasonal. Even when it is not their season, they are still available in the markets. You must have observed mango. Even now you get mango. If you see jackfruit, these are all seasonal fruits, but sometimes you see certain markets still producing these kind of seasonal fruits when it is not their season to be produced. So here, if you see, the pineapple under natural conditions is difficult to blossom, has been made to produce fruits throughout the year. So it being a seasonal one, you still have the production throughout the year. With the help of what? Plants which are difficult to flower can be made, okay, you can be made by spraying them with 2,4-D, okay, dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. So here you have the answer. What do you spray in it? 2,4-D, dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, and you also spray in naphthalene acetic acid. So these two, when they are sprayed, there is flowering and production of the fruit throughout the year. So this is actually an artificial way we call it as, because say God created in such a way that what has to be in that season, God has made it in such a way, but we are trying to rearrange the nature itself. So if you find you have a lot of transformations made in gene transfer, then you have genomic plants, you have a lot of advancements made in that. So here, in order to produce you get the fruits throughout the year, you use these two things. What are they? Naphthalene acetic acid and dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, which are synthetic auxins. They are actually not natural auxins. Okay, for example, where are these auxins especially used? Lychee and pineapple. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. Next question here. Which one of the following generally acts as an antagonist to gibberellins? Okay, what do you mean by antagonist? First, let's discuss about that. Even when you come to a bacteria, when you study about a bacteria, that is a scenario called antagonism. But what is the general meaning of this antagonist? See, we will talk about the general meaning. See, a person who actively opposes, any action is being opposed, okay, or is hostile to someone or something, is called as antagonist. A substance which interferes with or inhibits the physiological action of another. So, the action of the gibberellin is being opposed by any of this. So, which one is opposing that? The correct answer is option C, abscisic acid. Gibberellin and abscisic acid are antagonistic to each other, because if you see, gibberellin is also a hormone. This is also a plant hormone. Both of them are hormones. Okay, both of them are plant hormones. Now, this abscisic acid counteracts many effects of gibberellins, like induction of hydrolases and alpha amylase activities. Something. So here, both of them cannot work, together. They work separately. So the antagonist for gibberellin is option C, abscisic acid. Okay. Next question here. Phototrophic curvature is a result of uneven distribution of dash. So what do you mean by phototrophic? Something dependent on light, right? So we're again talking about the sun, the plant, and you have four options here. Gibberellin, as you know, it's a growth hormone, or you can call it as plant hormone. Then you have cytokinins. I just now explained what is cytokinins for you. What are cytokinins when it comes to a plant? They are also a class of plant growth substances which are called as phytohormones that promote cell division, or simply cytokinesis. So the division is not just for root or shoot, it is both for root and shoots. Okay. Other than that, what do you mean by phytochrome? You know what? See, the other name for cytokinin is phytohormones. Now, what do you mean by phytochrome? It means color, right? It means color. They are also called as a class of photoreceptor in plants, sometimes even found in bacteria and fungi, which is used to detect light. They are sensitive to light, especially colors of red, which is visible in the spectrum and can be classed as a type. So it depends upon the type. You have different types, type 1, type 2, type 3. Now, phototrophic curvature, the correct answer is auxin. Phototrophic curvature is a result of uneven distribution of the auxins. So auxins together are called as plant hormones or plant growth factors. The experiments conducted by Charles Darwin concluded that the tip of the, we just now saw in the first question of this video, where we spoke about vena coleoptile, right? That is what is the instance here also, where there we saw about a curvature which explained about the oxygen movement, auxin movement. So again, the answer here is coleoptile. Okay, the correct answer is auxin. So that's what they've explained here. They have, see, whatever experiments they have done with plant is majority with coleoptile, avena coleoptile. The correct answer is option D. Next question here. One of the synthetic auxin is dash. This is a very easy question to answer because we just now discussed about it. There are fruits and flowers, even when they are not their seasons to be bloomed or fruited, whatever, you still find them in the markets and you still go forward to buy them. So that production is because of the usage of synthetic auxins, where we saw 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, and also we saw NAA, which is a naphthalene acetic acid. The correct answer is option D. Okay, fine. Next question here. Which one of the following acids is a derivative of carotenoids? Easy question again for you to answer. You have four options here. The correct answer is abscisic acid, which is abbreviated as A, B, A. We all know that. It is also known as abyssine 2 and domain, and it's a plant. It's a plant hormone which helps in various functions. Its function is it includes many plant developmental processes like leaf flower development, then bud dormancy. Abscisic acid is a derivative of carotenoids. It is called as abyssine 2 originally because it was thought to play a major role in abscission of fruits. At about the same time, another group calling it domain because they thought it was a major role in bud dormancy. What do you mean by that bud dormancy? We even discussed about that in the earlier question. What do you mean by bud dormancy? It is a suspension of most physiological activity and growth that can be reactivated. Dormant. What do you mean by the term dormant? Which remains static. They will not show any kind of action. Let's take an example here. Let's take dormant volcano. We always know, right? They are actually active, but they do not show any action. It's not that they are dead. Their body is still functioning, but they are not active. This is that. Even so, you can take even the coma patient here. Their body is still functioning, but there is no movement. Likewise, it is a suspension of the most physiological activity and growth that can be reactivated. So when there is a situation, when there is any trigger, they get activated, and whatever is their function, they do accomplish it. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C. Next question here. So here you must have seen it was coined a compromise between two groups. You have, say, this is a major acid which is derived from carotenoids. Okay. Next question here. Which one of the following pairs is not correctly matched? So we have to go option by option, then only you will understand. Gibberellinic acid is for leaf fall. The first one itself is matched wrong, right? Because gibberellin is a plant hormone again which helps in the growth of the plant. Many developmental factors have been seen from this acid. So it actually enhances the leaf growth. It does not contribute for leaf fall. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. We all know gibberellinic acid stimulates cell growth of leaves and stem, causing their expansion and elongation respectively. Leaf fall is controlled by ABA. What is it? ABA is abscisic acid. Okay. The correct answer is option A. Okay. Next question here. Foolish seedling disease of rice led to the discovery of dash. Okay. What is this foolish seedling? The effect of gibberellins had been known in Japan since the early 1800s. Okay, where certain rice plants were found to suffer from a foolish seedling. Actually, it is also called as becane. Okay, it is also called as becane, which is the other name for foolish seedling. Such rice plants were thin, pale, green, and they were spindle shaped, longer by 50% than the healthy plants, and they were also sterile. Okay, so this is all about the foolish seedling. So foolish seedling of the rice, especially this disease of rice, led to the discovery of gibberellinic acid, gibberellin. Okay, next question here. An enzyme that can stimulate germination of barley seeds is dash. I think this is a very easy question for you to answer, because when we discussed about abscisic acid, we discussed two things: alpha amylase and alpha carboxylase or hydrolase. We have these enzymes which help in that. Alpha amylase enzyme will stimulate the germination of the barley seed. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option D. And this is a 3D structure to your right side of how alpha amylase will look. Okay, fine. Next question here. How does pruning help in making the hedge dense? So what do you mean by pruning? What is the common meaning of pruning? See, when we talk about pruning, it talks about, maybe you can consider it as trim. Maybe that can be the right word, I think. Trim. We do trimming, right? That is, we will not cut everything, or everything is not washed out, but we just cut the sides, something to do with that, a minor cut, so that it regrows again. Even for children we do that. We only trim the hair and comb. We trim the beard. All these are examples where it's just partial cut that you do to your hair or something, and it again regrows. Likewise, pruning is but pruning, how does it help the make hedge dense? You must have noticed this people doing, in especially when you come across certain corporate places. You find many plants which act as ornamental plants, which is there for beauty, which adds beauty to that place. It looks very amiable, the place looks very peaceful, the place looks very nature friendly, eco friendly, and it will be very pleasant to the eyes. Especially they are called as ornamental plants, where they do a trimming at the edges so that it looks very equal, and you can do a prescribed shape as well. You can trim the shape you want. So pruning is nothing but trimming. Okay, by cutting away the dead or the overgrown branches of stem, especially to encourage growth. We do that, right? Even we cut the end of the hair in order to promote the growth. If there are dead cells, nothing can be, you don't give space for the growth. Now the correct answer to this question here, you have 4 options here. It frees the axillary buds from apical dominance. Okay, when an apical bud is present on the plant, it will suppress the growth of the axillary buds. So that is called as apical dominance. So when you cut this, what happens? It's free. It frees the axillary buds from apical dominance, and thereby you have regrowth in that place. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. And that is how the place, see, this is a scientific reason why we do that. But the person who looks it from the outer view, who's not a science student or something, they simply see it as a beauty. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option A. Next question here. Cell elongation is in tendril regions of the green plants take place due to dash. Again, this is a very easy question for you. We already discussed about cell elongation. The major role for cell elongation is actually carried out with the help of gibberellins. Gibberellins introduces the elongation of internodes, and that is why it promotes cell elongation. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Apart from that, you have flowering in biennial plants. It breaks the seed dormancy. So these are some of the other functions which contribute or which is seen from gibberellin part. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Next question here. Differentiation of shoot is controlled by dash. Okay. Now you're given 4 options here. Now what do you mean by differentiation? Let's discuss about that first. See, when we talk about differentiation, the normal meaning, okay, there are different meanings for that. But when we talk about differentiation in plants, it is growth, right? Differentiation in plants, it is, of course, here they're talking about the differentiation of root. The action or the processing of differentiated or distinguishing between 2 or more things from the people. This is a common meaning. But when we talk about in terms of biology, what do you call it as? The process by which cells, tissues and organs acquire specialized features, right? It is the acquisition of the specialized features. Now I can give you an example here. We talk about cancer cells differentiation. They fastly grow, and that is again differentiation, the growth, the attaining of something special, something unique. Specialized features, especially during the embryonic development, is also another example here. So differentiation of the root, if you see, is controlled by high cytokinin versus auxin ratio. Okay, while in tissue culture, auxin concentration is made high to promote the rooting system. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C. So with this, we complete the part 2 of this chapter. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.